Hi everyone, my name is Sabrina Mir and I am a teaching assistant with the Young Scientists Program at USC. Welcome to week 2 of the special education YouTube videos. This week we'll be talking about weathering and erosion. Before we begin talking about weathering and erosion, I want you guys to first pause this video and write down what you know about the weather. So the weather are daily conditions that involve the wind, the temperature, and rain or precipitation. You guys have probably seen most of your information about the weather from the news when the meteorologists forecast the weather. So the question for today is, what is the difference between weathering and erosion? I want you guys to pause this video and write down the question. Weathering and erosion have a lot to do with rocks. Weathering is when a bigger rock is broken down into smaller rocks by things like the weather, wind, rain, or plants, breaking up the rock. Erosion is when the rock is broken down, but then it actually moves. So weathering is when it's just broken down, and erosion is when it is broken down and then moves. So you might think of a rock or a boulder coming off the side of a mountain. When it comes off the side of the mountain, it will roll down the side of the mountain. This is the erosion, when it's broken down into small pieces and rolling down. This week we'll be doing a simulation to see what happens when water hits rocks. So for this experiment, you will need a tray or a bowl, some water, Skittles, and a pipette. So the first thing I'm doing is placing different colored Skittles on this aluminum pan. And then I'm going to squeeze my pipette to get some water in it and slowly add some drops of water on top of each Skittle. And look at what happens. You see the color sliding down the bottom. So here's a closer up visual. So you can see that all the color has come off of it onto the side. In the next clip, I'm going to repeat this with a green Skittle and add a lot more water to have more erosion happen. So you will see in this clip close up how much damage happened, how much of the color of the Skittle came off. I hope you enjoyed the experiment. Let's talk a little bit about what each thing represented. The plate or the pan that you use represents the earth. The Skittles are rocks, and the water that we used is the rain that's breaking down the rocks. So what did you see when you dropped water in the Skittles? Pause this video and take a minute to write down what you saw. So when you dropped the water on top of the Skittles, the color of the Skittles came down the side, right? That represents the weathering and erosion. So weathering occurred when the water hit the Skittle and the shell began to break away from the Skittle, and the water erosion happened when the color of the Skittle began to move down the side onto the earth or on the pan. This experiment shows you what happens when a lot of rain breaks down rocks and the rocks begin to move or they begin to weather away. This week's diverse scientist is a woman by the name of Florence Bascom, who is the second woman in the United States to earn her PhD in geology, which is the study of rocks. She did a lot of her work on different types of volcanoes, especially acidic volcanoes. She also worked with rocks and erosion cycles, especially seeing how erosion happened in Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week for week 3.